you believe that we started recording right in the middle of 2020 with all of the COVID and lockdowns going on around us, unable to meet up? So like many a young gentleman, we turned to the internet for our entertainment. Tried to find a place where we could meet up and talk about the good, the bad, and that time that Stu saw a pelican on the canal. In order to facilitate our dreams of answering all of the big questions in film, and after a few attempts at recording via other methods to various levels of success, we found Zencastr, a super easy web-based one-stop shop for recording. Log in and you're ready to record in a matter of seconds. It doesn't take a tech genius to get high quality audio or video. And on top of that, the one time we have had an issue, the fact that the multi-layered backups are stored locally means it's easily fixed all in browser. There are plenty of tools you need when you start podcasting, so let Zencastr take that headache away, as it offers a place to record, edit and distribute all from one website. Any lazy bones Jones can pick up and play and have studio quality audio or 4K video put out for the world to see when using Zencastr. Go to zencastr.com/pricing and use our code CAGEFIGHTING and you'll get 30% off your first month of any Zencastr paid plan. We want you to have the same easy experiences we do for all our podcasting and content needs. It's time to share your story. And now, hit the music. Hello. It's just me. It's just Andy. I'm only here to introduce the episode, basically. We've already recorded this. It's myself, it's Stu, and it's Ash. We're talking about the state of summer 2025. Check out last week where we talk about May and June's releases. This week, it's going to be July and August. Then we're going to have a bit of a breakdown when we look at the summer box office and look ahead to maybe the next 12 months, hopefully what will be seen in the summer 2026. Then in the final part, me and Stu will be talking about Nic Cage in Running with the Devil. We really are into the dregs of the Cage world at this point. Anyway, enjoy. July. Jurassic World Rebirth. The budget was between 180 and 225 million. The box office return was 860 million to date. Like, put simply, in spite of this franchise having considerably more misses than hits in terms of quality, people just love dinosaurs. I genuinely think it's that simple. Like, I like ScarJo, but I'm going to be honest, I don't think she is a draw on her own. I would say that about her co-stars Ollie and Bailey as well. So how can a franchise be this strong with maybe 2 good films and 5 terrible films out of 7? Stu, is it just people like dinosaurs? Is it that simple?
It's because they're not terrible films. That's why.
They're not good.
Because it's like normal people wouldn't like Titan, would they? This is there's so many people who do love dinosaurs and who Jurassic Park was their childhood and it will forever be their childhood. And I've watched that film way more than any other at this point. The first one. And I thought we get in Jurassic Park Survive as well next year. Was it late this year? Soon anyway. It's a first person survival game, clues in the name, based on a parallel time to the events of the first film. It's set the next day with someone who's left behind. That looks great. And it'll sell shitloads. You just know it will. As a game, regardless of the quality of it, it will sell shitloads because it's Jurassic Park / World. And this, I mean, you didn't even watch the whole thing. So
No, I walked out. It was so bad.
I went into it expecting hardly anything, knowing kind of exactly what was going to happen. And I think, okay, we've done it once and then it didn't really work. We've done it again. I know this is the third time they've had some kind of monster dinosaur which didn't exist before. Well, okay, now let's stop now. Let's go back to actual real dinosaurs again, not Spastic Rex, as I saw it called. And if you watch to the end, you can kind of get why.
Right, okay.
He's got special needs, that dinosaur has. He's a bit like, you know, you know when Jimmy has his little moments in South Park?
Right, okay, yeah.
Like, he's like that.
But in dinosaur form.
Yeah. But yeah, it was exactly what you thought it was. It doesn't do anything new. There was a couple of moments I thought, oh wow. And it's been a while since I thought that. But that was it. It is paint by numbers. And there's enough people painting them numbers, clearly, that there's going to be more of them.
No, I fully believe you. I just know it's very much not for me. I didn't love the first one. I understand why it's so popular, but they're just not for me. The first film of the second trilogy, the Chris Pratt and Bryce Dallas Howard, that was all right as well, but I just don't think they're very good films. And immediately, I mean, I've spoke about it on this podcast. It pissed me off that they got New York wrong, but the fact that the entire thing went to shit because of a fucking chocolate wrapper bought down $1 billion scientific research center. This is just too stupid for me. Too stupid for me. Ash, what were your thoughts on this behemoth of a franchise film?
I went in hopeful because the first one was really good, obviously. Then 2 and 3, meh. Then the reboot with the Chris Pratt, the first one was pretty good. Then the second 2 were just awful. So I was like, okay, going by the law of averages, this first one's going to be decent. And it happened. It happened. Like, I don't know what else to say to it. It was fine, I guess. As far as the first films of, I'm guessing there's going to be trilogies, it's the weakest of the 3. I don't really have any interest in seeing more. But here we are. Like I said at the start, reboots and reboots and thingies. It's just going to happen. Just accept it.
Yeah.
We move.
In regards to Scarlett Johansson, so there was a report that came out at the end of this film that she is the actor who has got like the most box office, I say named actor in a film. I would argue that the vast majority of the films that she's been in, it's always been an ensemble and she's never been the lead. I don't think she's a draw. I think she's a solid actor. I don't think people turn up because it's the latest Scarlett Johansson film. Am I being harsh there, Ash?
No, not at all.
She's got a good agent, hasn't she? She's got the best agent.
She got lucky that she got cast as Black Widow.
Because like the box offices around the films that she's been in regards to Marvel, they've all been massive, and she's seldom been the focal point of any of those films. Like, I wouldn't even say she's the second focal point. She's always like third, fourth, fifth billing.
Yep.
Stu, am I being a prick here with this, or is she just... Lucky's not the right word, but she's always in the right place at the right time, which is a fantastic skill to have.
Yeah.
But I just don't think she's a draw.
Yeah, I think you probably are right. But she's... I don't think we can... The problem is we haven't got anything to kind of judge it off because all she is in, the big ones, are big ones. Like, she's not done a big original film on her own that you'd say, okay, she is the draw then. But we don't have that option here. And until that happens, or if it ever happens, we're never really going to know.
No, I don't think we are.
I mean, I wouldn't say so. I wouldn't think people would go and watch a Scarlett Johansson film and thought, oh yeah, she's in it, I'm going to go and watch that now. But then I don't think I've ever asked anyone that question before.
I'm trying to think of like films where she's been the star of the film. He's gone on to do gangbusters, and there's just very little, I think, with it, unfortunately. But again, she's always solid in whatever she does. So it's like, I don't want to be disparaging about her.
Mm.
But she's like, Tom Cruise is the man when it comes to, minutes on screen to actual dollars earned, I think. But yeah, she's supposed to be this, all earning actor. And it feels a little bit disingenuous. Anyway, the next film to discuss is Superman, with a budget of 225 million and a box office return of 614 million. Now, this film was released a week after Jurassic Park and the week before Fantastic Four. Like, it's not a great place to be, really. You got 3 big films all out within a month. No payday between them. Like, we've spoken about the pull of dinosaurs. We're well aware of the financial juggernaut that is the MCU, which sort of demands eyes on their product with the ongoing homework issue there. So Superman is in a pretty tough position. So how do you feel about Superman being probably the 3rd or 4th biggest earner this summer, Stu?
Deserves it. It was great fun. And the fact that I didn't... Superman's not my thing, really. But I was very much more of a Batman guy myself.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was one of those situations where I wasn't here. I was in, like we talked about last week, I was in Orlando. And the opportunity was there for me to go and watch it in America. And I thought, actually, no, I do kind of care about this. I don't want it ruined by Americans screaming and shouting at things. So I will just wait until I get back. And waiting a week and having it muted, and no one talked about it though. No one else around talked about that film while it was in the cinema before I got a chance to go and watch it. And I was quite surprised that it did as well as it did. I mean, obviously it's a small sample size of being in Wentzfield, but still, the people who do talk, even people like Thunderbolts, and they were there for that. They were talking to me a bit about that, because then that's the kind of thing that they know that I watch. So it was kind of weird when, not surprising, but how this one just came. Everyone loved it who watched it. Everyone talked about it online, and then in person, like an anti-Avatar. And then it just went away again. It's like, oh yeah, Superman was a thing. And it seems to have just vanished. And I don't know why. And maybe it's just one of them things that he'll come back when the next one comes along. But it was great. It deserved to make as much money as possible.
Ash, do you think that could be a factor because it's not the MCU? Do you think maybe people are going to take a minute just to sort of readjust themselves and realise that, like, most of us know that DC and Marvel aren't the same thing, but that's not everybody. Do you think people might need a minute to sort of get up to speed with that?
I think so. And we're at the start of the new rebuild as well, aren't we? So we need to take our time. Obviously, this is the start of hopefully bigger and better things. So, and it also, apart from, say, what Nicholas Hoult, really, it was a very unknown cast to majority, really. So that's probably not helped, because there's not a lot of people going, oh, did you see X big name in Superman? You just lose that sort of thing, because the only things that I saw online was, it's been out a few months, the scene when Superman comes into Luthor's office and kicks off about the dog and goes John Wick on him. And that's all, and it's all about Nicholas Hoult being a prick. And I say he's probably one of the, as far as the main cast go, he's probably the biggest star. So I think they just didn't have the big names to attract the attention per se, which is no bad thing, because it's the best comic book film this year by country mile.
I wonder if that's why they had James Gunn part of the, like, I know obviously he's front and center of the DC studio anyway, but he was also front and center in this, in a way that you don't always see a lot of directors being. Like, he's doing as many interviews as Superman himself. So I wonder if maybe that's why, was to lend that bit of star power to it, maybe.
Potentially.
But I thought this was a great film. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was made for me. It really was. It's very much my kind of thing. I'm excited about what's going to happen next. I love the teaser that we got in this film. Apparently, we're getting Man of Tomorrow is going to be the sequel to this, and apparently it's going to be Luthor and Superman teaming up against the larger foe. I'm excited about what the future holds with this. It started off well. The DC universe is here, and I just want more of it now. And it feels like it's in better hands than it was previously. So fingers crossed with this one. Next film on the list is Bring Her Back, a budget of $15 million and a box office return of $39.1 million. Said it before, we've had some good horror this year. Stu, is this the best horror this year?
It is for me. I mean, I'm not counting Sinners anyway because it's not a horror film.
But I agree with that.
But yeah, this was superb. And when I was doing my little Andre Gillard Sheets entry after this film, it was the first 9 that I've heard put in that list all year.
Oh wow!
There's a 10 and there's a lot of 8s. But yeah, it was. No, I didn't expect it to be what it was, and I'm kind of glad that everyone kept quiet of this. But I think the whole parent thing probably plays into it. But even just how awful the whole situation is, just terrifying. And again, kids being good on screen.
I don't like it. Our world has pretty much revolved around kids being terrible actors, and now the little fuckers are taking over because they're doing such a good job. And yeah, Bring Her Back, I thought was just incredible. I can't remember the last time I felt so uncomfortable watching a movie. The whole thing, like I didn't know how to sit comfortably in the cinema that evening. Because however I felt, I was just like, there's something gnawing at the back of my head. There's always something just around the corner. The way they handled the tension with it, I thought was fantastic. Sally Hawkins' performance in this is as good as Toni Collette in Hereditary.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So yeah, I just thought absolutely fantastic. I loved this film.
There was a moment, the arm. When he's
oh yeah
there's a moment with an arm. I don't think I've had that kind of feeling before, where I felt very bad, like not uncomfortable, but almost like retching, and it was awful. It was terrible, but thoroughly like you can't take your eyes off this. Just an absolute work of art.
It was a secret screening that I got to see this, so I went in completely blind, knew nothing, and yeah, I was like, oh, I'm glad I'm here for this one because this is tremendous. Ash, you didn't get around to it, and as a horror fiend, I'm very disappointed in you. What happened? Why didn't you get around to this one?
What date did it come out?
Oh, it's the end of July, sorry. I think it was like the 20-something, yeah.
I had Warfare that week. I would have had Sinners as around then. Oh no, wait, hang on. July. I would have had Fantastic Four and Happy Gilmore and Naked Gun. And for some reason, Death of a Unicorn I watched that time as well. So I just watched other things. It is on the list, but I haven't got round to it yet. Pretty sure it's kind of there. If I quickly sail the seas, I can probably find something on the good ship.
You will like it. I promise you will really like it. Quick fire reviews. First up is I Know What You Did Last Summer, which is another one of these terrible fucking reboot, remake, horseshit sequels. I didn't like it. I hated at the very end. Like it wasn't a good journey throughout, and at the very end of the film, this is like a very minor spoiler. The final girl says, all because a man didn't go to therapy. is why the man ended up being the killer. The man met someone in therapy, and that's how he ended up a killer. Like, did you not fucking watch the film that you were in when you said that? It was shit. Like, it was so bad. It was not funny. It did not work on pretty much any level. Instantly forgettable. I hope it dies there because I don't want to see any more of that. Awful. Next film, Happy Gilmore 2. Stu, quick review.
I enjoyed it a lot more than I thought, especially given the fact that people had panned it. Saying it wasn't as good as the first, which it isn't. It wasn't as good as the first for me. And I had seen the first for a good 25 plus years. I'd only ever seen it once or twice on video back with my dad back when I was a kid. And I loved it then, and there was no reason to watch it again for that reason. So I watched the original a couple of days before and went into Happy Gilmore 2. Glad I did. If you're not a golf person, I don't think you get as much out of it. Weird thing to say, but there's so many cameos in it. It's like, well, okay, these are just people. Like, why am I supposed to care? But it's a film that made golf fun again in the first place, so I'll get it. But it was better than I thought it was going to be.
Cool. Ash, quick review on Happy Gilmore 2.
Pretty much the same. It's just nostalgia bait, which is no bad thing for that sort of film. If you loved Happy Gilmore, you'll love this. So many cameos, you stop counting. Like I say, even if you've got a passing interest at golf, there's so many golf people in that film. It's ridiculous. There's obviously MJF for the wrestling fans. The only bit that fell apart for me was the last, was it half an hour when they actually do this golf tournament? Because I thought they just went a bit too silly. All these new golf things. It's like there's playing crazy golf, and then there was the nonsense that they were saying, and it's just like, all right, okay, I'm out here. But yeah, it was a Happy Gilmore, Adam Sandler, I want to say romp, but I left it feeling like I watched Happy Gilmore again, and just go watch Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, what more do you want, I suppose? Yeah. War of the Worlds, Stu.
I don't know what possessed me to do this. I mean, I did this completely sober as well through my own choice. And I had more fun watching this than watching that England game. I know it is shit. I know it is.
It is.
It's very, very bad.
Yeah.
And we talked about this style of film before. The webcam stuff. Some of them are really good and clever. And obviously the Tenant series was really good as well on BBC during that time. Mr. Ice Cube was, it's a second, I don't think he even melted, did he? he was having a meltdown, and he's like throwing his chair around his room. But he just didn't look bothered. And I don't know what people look like when they're just staring into a camera. I've got no idea. But he was terrible. He was really, really bad. I mean, some of them I thought were okay. I thought even Longoria was all right. For working with what they had to work with. Yeah. And the whole kind of Cloverfield effect, and I thought it was not bad. But it was so shit. Like, so shit. I thoroughly enjoyed myself watching it because it was so bad. And it is like, we recommend it. And I did. I talked to everyone about it yesterday. And yeah, I get why it's on a 4% on Rotten Tomatoes.
I mean, that's gone up because it was 0 a couple of weeks back. Like, nobody likes it. Yeah, it is a terrible film. There's no like redeeming qualities. But I did laugh because they keep saying data every 2 fucking seconds, and like the person that they're after is right under his nose, and he should know that person is. But he's the worst analyst in the world, and the whole film revolves around him and Amazon. Like, literally, Amazon saves the day. and it's an Amazon Prime film. It is 100% just a fucking advertisement for Prime. Like, yeah, that's all the whole film is. That's all it boils down to. But you should watch it because it is quite funny. But I don't give him any money. Pirate it. It does not deserve your money. Pirate this film. It's terrible. But it's worth it just for the gags that happen throughout it. And I think you'll enjoy the shitness of it almost.
Yeah, I mean, it's, War of the Worlds I've never got as the thing. It's never, it's all a bit silly. The whole thing, it's, oh yeah, it's over 100 years old. Who cares? Spoilers for War of the Worlds. But how they're defeated and all that kind of stuff. It was all, well, I remember watching it for the first time, whichever version that was. I'm thinking, that is it. Seriously, that's it. And oh, okay. So I had no idea what this one was going to bring to the table. So when it was tweaked a little bit, I thought, okay, fair play to you. You've modernised it. But you are right. They say data more than they said in The Next Generation, which is a shocking thing to say.
Yeah. Terrible. Speaking of terrible, Fantastic Four is the final film. Yeah, I was bored. Julie Garner's really good, but I was just bored. Ash?
Ralph Ineson was good.
Oh yeah,
I thought Ralph Ineson was good as an actor. Yeah, it was a film. It existed. I went home. As far as like the start of their universe and sort of, if this is the X-Men, not the X-Men, the Fantastic Four cast that we're going with, it was lackluster. They just existed. It left it. I was disappointed, to be honest, which is a shame because I thought the sets were good and the universe of like the alternate universe being like set in the 60s kind of thing. It all looked pretty nice, but yeah, yeah,
quite hollow though, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Stu?
Yeah, pretty much the same. It was a massive letdown. And I had no excitement anyway, really, going into this, because we've been let down before, multiple times. But yeah, like I said, the world was fine. The little cutaways and the montage and stuff, some of them were really good. I thought, yeah, this is keeping it in its own little silly world. But when I had the issue, which I thought it was going to be something that it wasn't, mainly because of their own film teeing it up a few months earlier. But judging it on its own, yeah, bored. Bored is the word, I think, because the whole Galactus turned into a Power Rangers villain as well, like stomping through the street. He just, I don't know what he was supposed to look like, but he changed his size all the time, and nah. It was a bad one.
Apparently that does happen in the comics, is that it can be quite relative. But as somebody from the outside who doesn't know that just looks like bad filmmaking. Like, you need to explain these things to people. Same with, like you said about Sue, because I remember we'd spoken, you said about how Sue seemed to be massively overpowered. Apparently she is one of the most powerful people, but again, if you don't set these things up, it just looks like it's bad storytelling.
Yeah.
So yeah, I feel like it was just a failure on quite a few levels, and it didn't really make a lot of money either, so it did fail quite considerably. August. Weapons. Now, Stu, I know you were too wet to go and see this one, so
literally an actual reason, by the way, not a euphemism. I was caught in an actual storm that led to lightning hitting a children's school. They got sent home 15 minutes early. Like, why? To repair things, and he got back, and yeah, they part of the roof got blown off by actual lightning. And I got halfway there and got so wet. I thought, I ain't sitting down for 2 hours to watch anything. I'm going home. So then I went home, but then I watched other things, which we will mention soon.
It's reasonable, to be fair, I think that. But yeah, Weapons, budget of 38 million. The box office return, as it stands currently, is 251 million. It's doing gangbusters. Is this my favorite horror? I'm really struck between Bring Her Back and Weapons because I really love both of these movies. I think this is a really clever story which has this really interesting turn in the middle of it without giving anything away. But it also gave the world a meme, which means that this film can live outside of the big screen, which I think that really helps create this perfect storm around it. And especially with Julia Garner, who's had like coming out of Fantastic Four, she was probably the one with the most buzz. And she was again great in this movie. So it's quite a lot going for Weapons to really enjoy this movie. Ash, it's only me and you on this one who've actually got around to seeing this one. Where do you sit on Weapons?
I enjoyed it, but it's nowhere near the top for me.
Mm.
I think it bordered a little. The conclusion bordered on silly, just that little bit too much for me. In a sense, I just didn't like. It was towards the end, and without giving anything away, there was a point where I burst out laughing, and in a film like that where you've built up tension so much, for the ending to make me burst out laughing in a quiet cinema, it takes it away. Like if you're gonna go down a certain route, you can't 180 for me. I enjoyed it. The originality I thought was very good, but I just don't think they stuck the landing for me personally. But the performances were all good and everything like that. It's just I don't know.
It's fair because I get it because the first half of the film is tense as fuck.
Yeah.
Like it just keeps building and building and building, and you don't quite know what's happening throughout most of the first half of the film. And then we get to meet, oh God, what's her name? The aunt. I can't even remember what her name is at this point. But yeah, you get to meet the character on which it all sort of spins around on. And then it just goes completely off the rails. And I think if you don't go with it, then
yeah,
it will probably lose you like it sounded like it did to you. I did. I sort of just tried to hold on as it went crazy, and it does go crazy, really does. I get why maybe why it didn't work for you, but I liked it a lot because of that. But I was also a fan of Barbarian from Zach Cregger, same writer director, which has a similar sort of midpoint.
Yeah,
let's just go fucking tits at this point. Yeah. So I think if you like that, you'll get along with it, and if you didn't, you probably won't.
I feel like it was the same with Longlegs.
Right. Okay.
That you built up Nic Cage, and then it's been out a year. I can spoil it, can't I?
Yeah, look, we spoke about it on this player, so yeah,
we're going along with Nic Cage as the creepy fucking whatever, and then we go full devil, and I was just like, oh come on, nah. Yeah, that's it. Lost me there, and it's kind of sort of the same thing that happened in Weapons, and that last 5-minute scene where it all comes to a head, I just burst out laughing. I just howled.
See, I kind of feel like the best horror can do that though.
Yeah,
because I've said on this podcast, like I feel like horror and comedy are almost the same thing. They use shocks to elicit a response. Usually it's, laughing if it's comedy and shit yourself if it's horror. But I feel like sometimes that can get interchangeable. And that's what I like in a horror film. And that's why I like this film. The next one is all on you, Stu. So it is K-pop Demon Hunters. It had a budget of 100 million. The box office was 19.2 million. Now, like, there is a massive caveat because this is a Netflix film and it was only given like a 1 or 2 day cinematic release. So the fact that it got nearly $20 million, being the number one box office film for that week, given its theatrical run, like it was also out at that point on Netflix to watch. So you had no reason to go to the cinema and see this. It's fucking mental what that film managed to achieve. Like, I don't know anything of the anime, manga, whatever it is. I don't know that world. But this feels like it could be a bit of a wake-up call, and I wouldn't be surprised if we started to see mainstream American studios going down this route and trying to get that sort of, that audience. Is it weebs, I think they call themselves? I don't, like I said, I don't know that world, but I feel like I'm going to have to get on board with it at some point. Do you talk to me about K-pop Demon Hunters?
I mean, that's kind of the thing with this. It's almost, you could take the K-pop stuff out of it and it wouldn't, it's nothing to do with anything really Asian-like, really.
Okay.
There's a few like the Korean mystical creatures and whatever,
Right.
which I have got no idea of either. They were just things there in the demon world for me. It was only when I looked on IMDb in the trivia section after, I thought, oh, okay, this is a thing in Korean lore and all this kind of things. It's it's a CG film in the Spider-Verse style, in a way. More Mutant Mayhem, I guess.
Okay.
In a kind of like, it's kind of stuttery, that kind of what thing. But and it is, I think it is made by Sony. I'm pretty sure I saw that logo. Anyway, it's not what you people think. I looked at the name and thought, oh yeah, okay, it's going to be K-pop. It's going to be all that stuff that I don't really understand either. I'm too old to understand. But it's basically a girl group who, being the biggest girl group in the world, also fight away demons with their voice. And that is the premise of the film. And then the demon lords send a boy band up who to become more famous than them, and then to kind of take over them and take their souls and stuff. So it's all very silly, but the music is just annoyingly infectious, and it gets in your head, and you can't escape it. And I mean, it's a parent's nightmare because it stays on and on and on all the time.
Is it going to be the next Frozen, do you think?
Easily, it could easily be Frozen. And you have got it. I think if it wasn't Netflix, if it was elsewhere, it might have got Frozen status already. But talking about it at the time, that people who work with kids have had it, the soundtrack and 2 or 3 songs already on the loop in the soft play, added to the list. Because the songs like Let It Go and like all the others, the kids will just sing along to. And I watched this on my own, completely on, with no kids around, for the first time. I've probably watched it about 3 or 4 times now in passing. It's just feel good fun. A bit like what you said with Elio. But this has been successful. As Elio, I didn't even know. Like when you said you were going to watch it, I had no idea what it was. I hadn't seen anything for it anywhere, even on buses, which I presume there were, but I hadn't seen any promotion for it. It just came and went. Whereas K-pop Demon Hunters is there on the front page of Netflix every day.
Yeah, I think it's here to stay. I really do. From what I've been hearing about that entire world of animation, I think it's just going to grow, and us in the West are going to have to like get on board or get left behind. 7.6 on IMDb, which is a very good score. 98% critical score on Rotten Tomatoes, and 98% in the audience scores. Like, it's got everything you think you would need to make this a successful franchise. I wouldn't be surprised if the next one isn't given a proper run in the cinema, rather than just a weekend run. Ash, I know you haven't seen it, but I know you were telling me that Mel, your lovely partner, was trying to get you to see it.
Nope. Nope. I'm all right. I'm past. I've got no interest. It's beyond me. No, I'm good.
The last film that I wanted to have a bit of a dive into is once again The Naked Gun. Budget of 42 million with a box office return of 96 million as it stands. So we're now a few weeks away, and like I really enjoyed it in the moment. I don't know if this film has got the legacy, or it will leave the legacy of the originals, or even Akiva Schaffer's other films. Like, it's very good in the moment. Maybe it's a little bit throwaway in retrospect. I don't know if it's got the sustainability here. Am I wrong? Will this reignite parody films, or was it just very much great moment, but probably not much longevity? Stu?
I mean, it's kind of shown that it can be done now. So it wouldn't surprise me in a year's time, 18 months' time, that we get a handful of these kind of things again. And they are going to be very hit and miss because they are jumping on the back of something that probably didn't expect to happen. I've still thought every time it gets mentioned, and like I saw someone had clipped up the entire dream sequence with a snowman and put it on Twitter. And I didn't even watch it, and I started giggling to myself exactly like that. And even seeing it once weeks ago, it's still in my mind all the time. So I think it probably will. And again, like you mentioned, Euro Trip earlier. That's one of the films like Juice Bigelow and stuff like that just sticks in your head. Whoever good quality wise they are, they're funny. And funny doesn't leave you. So hopefully not. Hopefully it does stay around.
I mean, in fairness, we are like a couple of weeks away from Spinal Tap 2. So potentially, if we can get a couple of decent parody films, that it's not going to go underground again like it did for so long. Ash, where do you sit on this? Like, is it one it was good in the moment, but probably not going to be revisited for quite some time, do you think, or what?
I've got no real affinity to any of the scary movies or any of those sort of parody films themselves. But I adored Naked Gun. I had tears in my eyes at certain parts towards the end with the substitution. That I was howling. But I think it was a one-off for me, to be honest. Like, and I listened to the podcast you guys were talking about, and Liam Neeson was good in it, but he's not Leslie Nielsen. Like, I enjoyed it for what it was, but if they said, right, okay, we're done, I wouldn't be annoyed because it was good in what it was, but I think we could leave it as it is. I'm not clamoring to see more parody films, really.
I don't know that in a decade we'd be talking about this Naked Gun in any way, shape, or form in the way that we are the original trilogy. Like, I don't. And look, I feel like I'm being harsh because I did really enjoy it and I laughed and that's it. It was food for the brain in the moment, but there's no like standout line for me. Like, in years to come, we're still going to be quoting "Don't Call Me Shirley" in a film that will be like, by the time that we're all even older men, in 60, 70 years after the release of Airplane, that will still be mentioned. I don't know that this has got that. And that's absolutely fine. Not every film has to be all-encompassing, greatest film of all time. But of the genre, I just don't think this has got the legacy. It was absolutely fine. And yet Liam Neeson isn't Leslie Nielsen. And I think that's really the issue with the film. Because it does feel like in the original films, Liam Neeson was acting. And in this film, it feels like No, in the originals, Leslie Nielsen. Kept doing it then. Yeah, Nielsen was being his great actor and delivering the lines the way he should. In this, it just felt like Liam Neeson was trying to be a version of Leslie Nielsen. And he was fine at it, but it's just not on the same level. But I did enjoy it, nonetheless. And it did well. Like, he got over double its money back. So it wouldn't shock me if he did get more at the same time. A few quick fire reviews. Materialists, Ash?
Ugh. Not for me. Didn't enjoy it. I don't think it was for me.
That's fair. I enjoyed it. I like Celine Song's first film, Past Lives. I thought it was a masterpiece. This isn't as good as Past Lives, but I'd still enjoyed it. I like the fact that the lead is very messy. Like, she's not a particularly identifiable person. You don't love her in the way that you do the characters in Past Lives. And I kind of appreciated that. Like, I don't feel like everyone has to be nice all the time. And I liked that. Nobody 2. I'm the only one who's seen that. Really, really enjoyable film. If you liked the first one, this is Nobody 1, but more so. And that's great. Like, if you do the first one, this is exactly what you'd be wanting. And I wouldn't begrudge them a third film either, because it was fun. And that's all I wanted from it. Similarly for Caught Stealing, which I got to see this week after I just kept missing it because it was on at the wrong time of the day. Finally got around to see it. That fucking Austin Butler, he's got something. Like, he's got something about him. He's going to, like, fucking run Hollywood for the next 20 years, I think. He's a special talent. And it's a really good film. If you liked Nora, you'll probably like Caught Stealing. It's a very similar sort of gangstery film with some comedic elements in there. Great performances from the Doctor, Matt Smith. As I said, Austin Butler. Catwoman, Zoe Kravitz, I think it was. She's tremendous in it. Liev Schreiber and... oh, God, what's his name? The guy who was Gomer Pyle in Full Metal Jacket. Vincent D'Onofrio. Good performance from him as well. Just an all-round really enjoyable film. And the final film that I want to mention is Together. Stu.
I with that poster. I don't know what I expected from this. I had no real intention of watching this at the time. So caught up with this because I missed out on Weapons. And as to how good the substance was last year, okay, where you see them with the legs there, and I think Nathan Jura mentioned it on the Espresso Star Poddy that it kind of hinted at something. I thought, oh, he's watched it, so it's good. With his horror seal of approval, I thought, okay, I'll give it a go. And seeing the legs together in the cave, I mean, spoilers, it's like 10 minutes into the film. Okay, here we go. And no one had said anything about this either. I hadn't seen anything from anyone. And it was great. Incredibly silly. and I wasn't expecting that from it. I thought it was going to be a lot more gory and serious. But then you've got the school bathroom and the ending, and just it's one of them things you don't want to say anything about because it's a nice surprise seeing what happens next because it is so ridiculous. But yeah, I don't know what I expected, but it was not that, and I'm kind of glad.
Yeah, I've spoken several times. I don't like Dave Franco, and I really enjoyed this film. I thought it was great fun. It was silly enough that it didn't take itself too seriously, but there was still a serious undertone to it, so that it actually had a bit of weight. So it was balanced really well. I thought it was well made. It was well acted throughout. He's a dick, and she's pretty, and it just works kind of perfectly. There's that bit of sand in the ointment, that bit of, grist against each other, and it worked so well. I really enjoyed it. I winced a couple of times, like you said. The school bathroom scene does things to a man because that is not pleasant, but it was great. Yeah, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I went in with middling aspirations. I thought this is going to be fine, if nothing else. And actually, I had a really good time with it. So yeah, 2 thumbs up for me. Ash?
Pretty much the same. I messaged you and said I think this is what Color Out of Space should have been. It reminded me of Color Out of Space a lot, but I had a lot more fun with this. Yeah, it was silly, but it knew exactly what it was. So it just played the line very well. The without spoiling it, the Spice Girls was just it's superb. Yeah, I cheered. I cheered when that song came on. I was just like, yeah, and I think it worked well because they're married in real life, aren't they? And they came across as a couple, and that was a lot that helped it. Yeah, I enjoyed it. Good stuff.
Yeah, excellent. Right, that's the look at the summer films. The next thing I want you to look at really is pretty much the breakdown of the last decade of summer, because I feel like things have been changing, especially post-pandemic. Like the world is very much different. So I've got some figures here which are dating back to 2015. I've adjusted them for inflation just to sort of get a bit of a level, because generally speaking, the unadjusted growth, it sort of ranges between 12 and 14 grand. There's not a lot of change when it comes to the unadjusted gross. But if you go back to 2015, if you adjust it for inflation, $19.4 billion was spent at the cinema to go and see films, compared to 12.4 billion, which have gone this summer. Like, that is quite a drop off. So, going in reverse order from 2015, got 19.4, 19.1, 16.4, 18.1, 17.8 billion. So that's between 15 and 19. Obviously, 20 and 21 for very good reasons different, with 1.5 billion and 6.3 billion. And then from 2022, we're looking at 11 billion. We had a bit of a bump in 23 where it was 14 billion, which was the Barbenheimer summer, which, like, we've spoken at great length about 2023. It's like the best year for film ever. So I kind of feel like that is a little bit higher, but it's still not comparable to the late teens. And then last year we had 12.3, and this year is slightly going to beat it with 12.4 billion. When you look at the big films throughout those years, Jurassic World, ironically, was the big hitter in 2015. Finding Dory, Wonder Woman, Incredibles 2, The Lion King, Tenet, Black Widow, Top Gun Maverick, Barbie, Inside Out 2, and it's probably going to be Lilo and Stitch as the big hitter this year. But in second place would be Jurassic World once again. So we've almost come full circle here. Why do we think we've not recovered, Stu? Like, the pandemic happened and it happened. We know all about why that period is what it is. But why haven't we recovered at the same rate, do you think?
I think it goes to everything we talk about cinema and why it pisses us off, because people got out of the habit. Plain and simple, people got out of the habit of going to watch a film. And when the vast majority of people can find a way to watch whatever they want now at all times, and the massive expense spent on huge TVs during 2020 and 21 and PS5s that people spent a lot of money on at the time. People have just got out of the habit of doing it for 2 years. It comes back and you think, well, okay, I managed perfectly well without going to the cinema and spending, what, 50 to 100 quid time, depending on your family situation and what you're doing and who you're taking. So when you pile that into the fact that, oh, okay, we're going to release films 3 or 4 months afterwards, then down to 6 weeks afterwards, then in some cases day and date. They killed themselves, and it's never recovered, because once you get out of the habit, I mean, you take it from the depressing angle of wall stuff. The first mention of the episodes. A lot of the people who tapped out a few years ago, they haven't come back because they find something else to do on a Saturday or Sunday or whenever they decide that it's going to be forced upon us this week. That once you get out of it, you find something else. Yeah, you'll keep an eye on it and you'll watch it in a different way. But if you've built your life around doing something differently, you're not gonna change and go back to who you used to be. When you're saving all that money, you've got people who don't know how to behave. You've got issues with the price of everything anyway. I'm amazed it's as high as it is, to be fair.
Ash, what do you think?
It was quite interesting. I saw a thing this morning, Giancarlo Esposito kicking off, saying about how it's all dying, which was quite interesting. But like Stu said, people are finding other things to do now. Everything's getting more expensive, and not everyone can afford to just spend all night at the cinema. It's not even just that. It's get the petrol to get there. It's food, drink, ticket prices and stuff like that. It's just... And then some people just don't have the time. Like, well, I'm quite lucky. Like, I finish at 5-ish, but I start at 5. So sometimes it's like I go on a Friday and it's like I can't be bothered. And I just don't know if it will come back in that sense. So I say I moaned about IP and stuff like that, but you need that fail-safe of what's coming and stuff like that. It's just, yeah.
Well, yeah, because when you look at the 8 out of the last 10 summers, the number one film was part of an existing IP. Actually, that's probably even more than that. Yeah. So Tenet is the only one that is on its own. When you look at that, although all those other ones are part of, they're either remakes or they're sequels or live action versions, or in some cases like Wonder Woman, part of the DC. Like, franchise dependency is 100% a thing. Like, that is what's holding up cinema, which is a shame really, because that looks like that's waning a little bit as well. Outside of Disney, like I think Disney will probably continue to be the big thing. So yeah. And also, so like 4 out of the last 10 have all been animated films. When you look at Inside Out 2, Incredibles 2, Finding Dory, The Lion King remake. I know it's supposed to be a live action, but it was still animated. They were just looking a bit more human. I mean, you could even argue that Lilo and Stitch as well. You could even put that in there as animated too. So I do think there is that dependency on stuff that is recognizable. It doesn't promote art, does it? Like, it doesn't promote new things when everything that's old is what seems to be working best, which is a bit depressing. Who do you think won the summer 2025? Who is the big winner this year? It could be a studio, could be a particular genre, an actor. Who do you think is coming out of 2025 as the big winner? Ash, what do you think?
I saw your question when you sent it me, and it took me a little bit of time. I think David Corran Sweat. He's the big winner. And as a broader, I think DC, this as a studio, is the winner, because I think Superman was that good that we've got a lot of intrigue now, and then they followed up quite quickly with Peacemaker, which is ongoing at the moment, which was already beloved, and he's very smartly retconned it so it's in this universe. And now we have, I feel a little bit sorry for Cavill, but that very quickly went away after I watched the film. I think the lad's set up for quite a nice thing now, and he's going to be an integral part of, hopefully, a mega franchise.
Mm-hmm. The cornerstone of it, yeah. Like, no arguments from me. Stu, big winner.
I mean, that was mine. I thought that Andy'd say that, so I'm going to say horror. Horror is back everywhere, and it's not just this summer, but to be included in the summer, like you kind of hinted at earlier when you were saying about it used to be in the dark periods of like March, April, because why else wouldn't you put it there? To throw it in the summer and to be successful and to have one every 6 weeks to a month. Great. Horror's back.
Mine was going to be horror. Like, I've got 2 horrors in every month that we've discussed that's been at least good. Like, most of them have been better than good. There's only a couple that I think have been absolute duffers, but even so, I've still like got off my arse to go and see those films. I feel like horror is, and like they've all been produced for but fuck all, and then done 3, 4, 5 times their budget. Horror is the way to go in the cinema, I think. But like you are right. You can't really look past what a fucking win this has been for DC and for James Gunn. They have dominated this summer, even if they're not going to get, like, was it 619? I think I said was the box office. At the end of the year, they'll probably be sneaking into top 10, but it doesn't matter because they've had so many eyes on them, even if they haven't had the butts in seats yet. To start the franchise like that, absolutely fantastic. And I think it'll just grow and grow. And obviously we're going to get Supergirl next year. They've already announced the next Superman film. We've got the Clayface film in production now. It's looking positive, and if they can keep the momentum going, that's the next decade of cinema. And yeah, I'm all for it. I really am. Absolutely fantastic. If I need to get my own answer rather than stealing both of yours, like, I kind of feel like I want to say something positive about Ice Cube, because War of the World is a terrible film, but it's got the world talking, you know? Like, genuinely, a lot of people seem to have seen this film that has had nothing but negative press. And the fact that Ice Cube is the lead of it's kind of amazing. He's won in spite of being in a terrible film and not doing a great job.
Yeah.
So, like, hats off to him. He's done all right there. And I did mention in, like, my example of Julia Garner, I think the fact that she's come out of a bit of a bad film in Fantastic Four and a very good film in Weapons, and so many people are talking about Julia Garner. She was the highlight of a pretty bland film, and she was excellent in Weapons. People want more of her. She's like hot shit at the minute. So I think as a solo actor, I think she could be the big winner. What was the next question I had on the list? Biggest surprise? Anything surprise you this summer, Ash?
Possibly Together. Possibly Together, I think. Looking at my list now, there's enough. 28 years later, we expected, because yeah, I'm going to go with Together, I think, and say I enjoyed myself a lot more than I thought I would with that. So,
Super. Stu, any surprises? Doesn't have to be a film. Can be, again, could be a genre. What are you thinking?
F1 not being Pandery was a huge surprise. And because a lot of Drive to Survive, the series, is like recorded afterwards. So the commentary is deliberately set up because no one's talking about middle of the pack duels, because it doesn't get shown, because why would you? Unless it's especially interesting. So a lot of that's re-recorded. And I thought, oh, well, it's going to be a bit like that. And I said, I don't know, I said at the time when the race immediately after it had been the film had been released. Them two, David Croft and Martin Brundle, were talking amongst themselves because obviously they did the commentary for the film, and they were talking about how they were going to go to the Oscars and stuff and all this kind of thing, and they were taking it as light-hearted as it needed to be, but they did a convincing performance, very much like they do in the games. Like, so I thought it was going to be awful, and it was something very different and remarkably authentic. So I thought that was going to piss me off, and it really didn't. And I was glad that it didn't.
Cool. My biggest surprise, like it probably shouldn't be, but Lilo and Stitch doing $1 billion, because Disney had said that they were going to stop doing these live action remakes because they weren't working and people weren't accepting them. And then this has come out and absolutely smashed it. So I'm a little bit surprised it's been as successful as it has. I think for the whole Disney doing the live action thing, a lot will depend on how Moana goes later this year. I suspect if they release it during the Christmas run-up, it will probably do $1 billion. So maybe we'll end up doing more fucking live-action dog shit again. But I'm a bit surprised that it's sort of gone against type a little bit there. What is the biggest misfire of the summer, Stu?
Fantastic Four, without a shadow of a doubt. It was built up for ages and ages. As soon as they got the rights back, we're going to do it properly this time. And it wasn't the disgrace that the last one was, but it like we've already talked about, it was just boring. And how can you go from the Marvel's first family and whatever to being like that? And it wasn't the usual excuses and the usual reasons. It was just a bit shit. And I don't know why, because we had Thunderbolts, we had this, they had plenty of time. They didn't need to rush this. They make their own schedule. And that came out. It's like, well, okay.
Ash, are you in agreement on that?
Yeah. Sadly, like Fantastic Four generally are one of the biggest parts of the Marvel cog, aren't they? So, and the fact that we've got it back, and this is we're back in, and then also you've got to factor in the fact of who the big bad is now in this film. It's Doctor Doom, and you think, we're going to get a film here that's going to get us going for Doomsday, and we got nothing. It was just, okay, whatever. All you got was an empty chair in the World Summit, and you're like, nah, I see you, yeah, and that was it. Apart from post-credit scene, which is just like, yeah, whatever. Nah, stinker.
Yeah, it was weak. I mean, so I'd ask biggest misfire, and the next one is going to be who needs to go back to the drawing board. And it is one and the same, isn't it? It's Fantastic Four and the MCU. Everything you've said about Fantastic Four is just right. Like, there's no two ways about it. And then when you throw in the Thunderbolts also not working because they fucked around with it and found out, I feel like, Marvel kind of, they at the minute, like Feige did say, like Feige's stepping away, isn't he, after 2027's done. He's also said that that's going to be a soft reboot. Eventually they're going to be recasting your Tony Starks and all these. At this point, they're just hanging off a dear life to get to that line, to just hope that it works. But the problem is, if they get there and it doesn't work, they've just fucked it. And like they really need to plan their next steps. When you look at how James Gunn is said that he's going to be running the DC studios, that it's going to be the script comes first. That's kind of what Marvel have needed to do for quite a while, because it's never been that. They've gone, this is the film title, how do we get there? And it's not really worked.
I'm semi-excited because of Sacha Baron Cohen influence now.
Right.
And that was a massive surprise. And that could work, or they could fuck it up again. But I think because there is that date and there is that film to end this run as it as we know it. It is whatever. It is they've cut back on the TV shows because it got out of control. Cutting back on the films works as well. Just give us 1 or 2 a year. We don't need any more than that.
But it kind of feels like it's got so unruly.
Yeah.
And they've let so many things slide that it just needs a complete restart. It doesn't need to be a soft reboot. It needs to be a hard reset.
But they'll still make the money, so it doesn't matter.
Oh, yeah, that's the worst thing about it all, isn't it? Is it comes down to the money, and that's going to be there regardless. So they don't care. Yeah. What is the next question? What does summer 2025 tell us about summer 2026? Ash, any thoughts going in ahead with this one?
You like all your IP and your all your franchises. You want to make money? Let's reboot. Let's remake. Let's keep going. Let's do sequels. That's all it's going to be, isn't it?
Yeah.
Sadly. And then you'll get the odd diamond in the shit that will be an original piece, and we'll love it. But otherwise, they're just going to go back to the well, aren't they?
Yeah, I've got that families don't want new things. They just want the same old regurgitated shit. Like, I kind of think it must be that the family man or woman must take their kids to see whatever new version of the exact slop that they grew up on. That's all they want, is just to, because they know it's safe. So I assume that must be what it is. So I fully expect next summer to be very similar to this one, with 9 out of 10 of the films being remakes, sequels, reboots, or parts of franchises.
Toy Story 6, isn't it?
Oh, God. Like, they haven't fucked up a Toy Story, so I shouldn't be annoyed. But just why not do something new? I don't get it. I kind of hope they learn from horror and they just keep this ball rolling and keep giving us more and more. Don't do it in, as Stu said, the dark parts of the year. Do it all year. Keep that going. That's what I'm hoping for. Stu, any predictions?
Yeah, I think the other issue with it, because like everything else, they'll see it as an excuse to just make any old nonsense and put it out and thinking it'll land. When you've got Shudder for that, and they don't always land whatsoever. Yeah, I mean, the whole family thing. I mean, Elio was one that I thought, well, Corey might watch that. And then I showed him the trailer, and he's like, no, don't want to watch that. I want to watch SpongeBob again. Okay, fine. But there we are. It's something that he knows, something that he likes. He ain't going to watch anything new. He's 8 years old. And that probably is the view, actually. Like, there's no point forcing them to go and watch something new, because if they don't like it, they're not going to concentrate and they're going to piss about. And knowing what the kids today are like anyway, and that they won't be told off, it's just, well, what's the point in even taking them anywhere? And I get it. It makes sense. It's just not very appealing, is it? Again, like what you both said, horror will hopefully stick around if it's decent. But I haven't even looked at what's out next year. Just so I've deliberately not looked, because we all know what it's going to be.
I'm just looking now.
I was going to wait until the new year and then look at what we've got coming. But yeah, it's going to be the same old, isn't it?
Yeah.
Have you got a bold prediction for what may happen? My bold prediction is going to be the biggest surprise for next summer is going to be an East Asian animated film. I think K-pop Demon Hunters is going to start the ball rolling, and we're going to get a big hit that is going to be in that genre. Stu, anything that you're boldly predicting?
That it was animated as well, but that someone one day is going to bring out a hand-drawn animated film, and it is going to be amazing, and it'll start the ball rolling around that kind of thing. Not AI properly, in the old way, it might not be very long. It might be about 80 minutes, but one day it's gonna happen.
I'd love that. Just one like proper old school cell animation.
Yeah.
Class. Ash,
Bold prediction. Oscar nominee Dwayne Johnson gets announced for Christopher Nolan's next blockbuster.
You only say nominee there.
I wanted to say winner, but you know, I don't want to go too thing.
You know what? If he gets nominated, I'm staying up and watching that nonsense. The first time ever.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
don't do it. Don't do it to yourself. It's horrific. I've watched it once, and the problem is they'll do an award and then they'll cut to like several different Oscar parties going on. So the award ceremony like is very much the tiniest part of the show, and it goes on for 6 fucking hours. It's chiller.
I think it's only worth it if you've got a horse in the race.
Yeah.
Like if you've got something that you're really like thinking. The only time I've done it was for Godzilla -1, and in the VFX. And when that won, that was worth everything. I was fucking I was shouting. So, but if Dwayne gets nominated, oh yes, can you imagine?
Cage fighting watch along.
I mean, it is like watching. I mean, I won't stay up. I mean, I did on Friday, but I won't stay up and watch the NFL if overnight if it's not the Jets. When I'm not mad. I mean, you can say that's a mad thing to do anyway, but I'll watch it later on. I'll watch it the next day, and go dark and avoid the score if I care. But it's very much the same thing. If he's nominated or Cage is nominated for anything, it's got to be done.
I mean, I can't say anything. I stopped to watch the Tonys, didn't I? So I'd like, yeah, probably Rice.
Let's face it. If he gets nominated, we're going to be sitting there looking like the Lenny meme.
Yeah, it's very true. Right. Okay. Super. Right. So I think I said we'll be doing Running with the Devil is the Nic Cage film we'll be discussing after the break. Ash, thank you very much for joining us for this fortnight worth of summer chat. Always a pleasure, sir. Thanks for joining us for the final part. I don't know where we are because we're recording this days after we actually did the last one. So I hope you enjoyed what we just spoke about. What was it, Stu? Well, we was doing the summer review, weren't we? Yeah. So I spoke to Ash earlier. So if this is right, I think that episode that is just before this, we spoke about Bring Her Back.
Mm-hmm.
And Ash has now finally seen it. Like after we talked it up in the recording, he sat down and watched it, and his review was, I was just so sad at the end. Like everything that happens is just really depressing for everybody, and even the big bad of the film, like without spoiling it, like you kind of feel sympathy for them because they did what they did for noble but misguided reasons. So yeah, I think he really enjoyed it.
Yeah, the fact that he picked a different version of the trouble eating that I did. I know that was mere seconds before. Was he?
Yeah.
Before or after. He's like, yeah, that's the part that got him. I went, yeah, exactly the same timing. But yeah, it's
the whole thing's just an uncomfortable watch. But like it's meant to be uncomfortable, isn't it? So
yeah.
What a film. Excellent. Unfortunately, we're here to talk about a different film, though, Stu. So this is 2019's Running with the Devil. Again, I heard nothing of it. I only seen the picture of it, and I knew that it was Larry Fishburne and Nic Cage, which kind of got me a little bit excited because I do like Lawrence Fishburne, and I kind of feel like they would have some good chemistry together. There's just not enough of them together on screen in this film, though, is there?
No. The bit where they're sitting on the in the snow. Oh, that was really that was surreal seeing them two together.
Yeah, because we've had them. They were together in the Cotton Club, and
But that was a long
Bumblefish,
time
if I
ago.
remember correctly. Yeah, a long time ago. And again, not like big scenes together. And I feel like they would complement each other really well if they got to do a proper full-on, not buddy cop kind of film, but something where there's going to be extended time of the two of them. And it was kind of nice seeing the moments they had. I just wanted more of them.
Yeah. Well, not so much more of Cage, more of Lawrence Fishburne having the best time of his life in this film.
Oh, yeah. Like, this film lives and dies with Lawrence Fishburne. Cage is just sort of kind of peripheral to this film. He's not really that present throughout, is he? Whereas anytime Fishburne's on scene, this film is watchable. Without him, it's borderline documentary without him, because it's following the drug trade and they're trying to figure out where there's like a hole in the proceedings, basically, and they're trying to find it. So it feels like the guy who's making it is written a documentary and then just put actors in to try and act it out. And it really lacks without having either of these pair on screen, but Fishburne especially. Like the opening scene where he's wanking off in the in that nudie booth, and then he gets the two prostitutes round, and you're like, this is not the Lawrence Fishburne I know of.
Or where one of them was wearing a strap on it. It's you don't have to pay extra for that.
Yeah, I did laugh at that. So like that happens within 10, 15 minutes of the film starting. So I thought, because I'd seen that the reviews were pretty low scoring on this. So I thought, oh, we're in for one of these films. Silly and badly reviewed, but it's potentially going to be fun. And then it all goes a bit downhill after there, because it's all a little bit convoluted, paint by numbers. Not
It is.
really a lot going on.
And you got the problem, there's too many people in it as well. And like we've seen this in a lot of these modern-ish Cage films where you've got the screen grab and then the writing about what the character name is. And it's almost automatically a bad sign. So yeah, in editing, this is obviously come back. You think, yeah, we need to say who these people are because
Clarify stuff.
there's so many characters and it's all over the place. And you don't kind of get into the groove until about an hour in. And where you kind of get an idea of what exactly is going on.
And it's a long hour as well. The first 2/3 of this film really do drag. But like I kind of feel like the naming convention that goes on in this film, it's the modern day version of the voiceover for me. Like I hear it or see it in this case, I'm like, oh no, you've clearly not done a good enough job explaining the story, so you're having to explain something else to us. And the fact that like these are the character names: the cook, the man, agent in charge, the executioner, the snitch. Like no one's actually got a name in this film, and I sort of get it when you're dealing with the mobsters. That sort of makes a bit of sense that there's a hierarchy, but to not give Leslie Bibb an actual character name, but she's just agent in charge, it just feels really undercooked. Ironically, with Nic Cage as the cook in this film, yeah, it just it felt very half baked. I thought,
yeah, again with the cook. Yeah, it was, and it was just one, and it started off like you said. It started off all right, and when it was like kind of bang, bang, bang with all these names popping up, oh class, this is tight, and it's got its shit together, and it knows what it is, and then it completely died a death. And this was a time checker, and it was about 40 minutes in where I thought we'd been in for an hour and a half. I thought, oh, okay, here we go. But like the stuff about how much the cocaine was worth, just randomly popping up on screen every now and again. For when it went from one stage to another. I mean, I'll get the point in the end. Like, yeah, this is obviously where the money changes hands, and this is for how little it's actually made for how much it's sold on for. We kind of know that anyway. I think
that information I feel would be a lot more prescient in an actual documentary with actual stakes. In this film, it just felt a little bit like it's like they were trying to ram the point home because it was a point that they sort of make, but they wanted to make it again and again to make sure that you didn't miss it. And I'm just like, you don't need to treat us like children. And it felt a little bit like that at points. But then at other points, they did it because it felt like they'd probably missed it earlier in the script. So we're just going back over old ground. So it felt really unbalanced in those terms, I thought.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It was so obviously post-production. A lot of the things like that, the names, it was clearly added afterwards because he didn't vibe with anything else that was going on in the film.
No, it didn't. And I'm quite disappointed that Adam Goldberg, the snitch, I really liked him for the first, like right at the beginning. He comes into Lawrence Fishburne's house. He's the one who finds the one dead hooker and one dying hooker. And then he does drugs in front of the cops. And I'm like, oh, this could be a really fun character. And I feel like they keep doing this in this film. He's like, give us a little bit of something. Like they give us Adam Goldberg and he ends up having to work for the place. You think, okay, there's a story there. That could be interesting. And then it gets dropped after about 45 minutes. Same with Fishburne, we get the madness and then it's off doing something else for far too long. And then it comes back to Fishburne and he doesn't turn up to the court date. And there's all these little bits of Fishburne which are really interesting and then get dropped because, as you say, there's too many threads going on. And it just feels really all over the place. Like I think if they'd have focused in probably on Fishburne and Goldberg and probably not on Cage at all, to be perfectly honest, I think this would have been a much more interesting film.
Yeah, completely agree. And I like the bits with his daughter, which is literally one scene of him just getting out of the car and putting a jacket on and being shouted at by his ex. That was it.
Yeah.
But you'd gone from seeing him wanking in the booth to then with the hookers and doing all his own produce. And then he turns up into this sad little bloke for about 10 minutes and then he's back to normal again after that. Like, it made no sense.
Then we see him with the massive stogie and the smartest suit you've ever seen.
Yeah.
Like it was proper 0 to 60 all the time.
Like it didn't.
Like how many times have we said, no, it didn't. It didn't at all. But it's, yeah. But it's like how many times have we said it about these kind of films at this point that it's just the director doesn't really know what he's got, so he's throwing so much shit against the wall and seeing what sticks. And it feels like he's thrown too much shit and can't decide what the actual story is. Because again, it feels like there's probably a nugget of something somewhere in here that just gets completely washed over because it doesn't really touch on any themes either. Like you'd think where it's a film about the drug trade and the impact that has on wider society, you would think that they would make a point of the actual, how that impacts people's lives. And it didn't really. They didn't really glamorize it, but they didn't, whatever the opposite of glamorize it, they didn't de-glamorize it. They didn't make it look scuzzy and shitty. Like a couple of people die in it and okay, fine. But like there was just no impact from this film for me.
Because you had the guy in Colombia doing his Death Stranding thing with his backpack on, walking through the terrain, and not paying the tuition for the kid and all that stuff. And then that, which is, I was trying to think if it's happened before. Have we heard Cage actually speaking a different language before? Which very, very badly, by the way.
Oh yeah, horrendous. I don't think we have. Like even when he was in Captain Corelli's Mandolin, it was cod English via an Italian accent, but it wasn't an Italian dialect, was it?
Yeah, it's a what's the matter, you? Hey, it's all that kind of stuff.
It was.
But this was phonetic Spanish at best.
Yeah, properly. Yeah. The Cage of it all was quite disappointing especially because on the poster of it, he's the front person, so you think this is going to be his film, but like even though he's first billing, he's probably third or fourth in overall screen time, I'd imagine, because it feels like Lawrence Fishburne and Leslie B probably get more screen time. Potentially even Adam Goldberg gets a bit more screen time. Cage feels very peripheral in this film. And his acting's fine through this one. Like, I don't think because he's not the focal point, he's not really doing any wild swings. He's just kind of low down almost.
Yeah,
I think.
and he's a bit like how I remember that film I watched with Bruce Willis and Megan Fox, where them two something through the grass, long grass, something like that.
I remember the one. He was like, was it his last film or last but one?
It was one of the best of his bad ones. But he was barely in that film, and yeah, he was top billed. And this feels like the similar kind of thing, where they've just got Cage in. He's obviously needs a bit of money. Before he's had the hair plugs put in, and he's just wearing sunglasses. And yeah, it's kind of going on to Cage good, Cage bad about it already, but he was fine. It was just fine, but there wasn't enough to judge on.
Yeah, I completely agree. Midnight in the Switchgrass was the film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
I looked on Rotten Tomatoes at some of the critical write-ups of it, and it's incredible how many of the critics use the words ho-hum in their write-up of this film. And ho-hum feels kind of perfect for this because it's a film that I think has big aspirations but delivers very little.
Yeah.
Like, I think he's got more ideas than what he's actually put on paper and into the film here, because it's like it is very disjointed throughout this movie. My favorite one is from Peter Sobczynski. It's less Breaking Bad than it is merely bad. I quite like that. I think that's a good little review of it because that is kind of perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah. The only crazy things that I noticed, they misspelled Nic Cage's name. They put an H in there. Put Nicholas with an H rather than just a C. Like, this isn't even Nic Cage in the 80s. You could get away with it then because obviously so young, no one's going to know. You can't do that in 2019 for crying out loud. And it does feel weird this being like there's too many films from 2000 and the teens really, which feel like they're at least 15 years younger should have been done 15 years prior to this. Because this is just another one where you feel there's nothing modern at all about this, especially the Cage that we've come to know in this period of time. Like the Cage is very closely following this film.
And they're throwing up the fixers and them kind of things. It was very late 90s, early 2000s.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it really was. Did you like the film, Stu?
Not really. It was just a bit bored. It was too plodding. It was too. It wasn't snappy enough for what it is. I don't know what they were trying to do. It wasn't like trying to be cool. It wasn't really trying to put across a message, which I think it kind of was trying to, but it failed. So I not really know. It was bored more than anything else.
Yeah, same. Like, is it unwatchable?
No, it's not unwatchable. It's an all right film. It's an all right, like 5, 6.
Lawrence Fishburne part. Yeah, the Lawrence Fishburne part's infinitely watchable. He's great in this for what it is. Everything else, it's just not interesting.
No,
that's ultimately it. And it's like you said, like I don't think, or I don't know what the message is because it's covered by all of the other crap that's going on. Like, do I remember? Like, I watched this 20 minutes ago, Stu. Did Leslie Bibb's character say that her sister died because of drugs and that's why she's after it? Like, I feel like that may have been a thread.
Yeah.
Why was that not introduced until the last 30 seconds of the film?
Was it not? I'm sure she mentioned it earlier on. I'm sure she mentioned.
Maybe I've just completely glossed over it because I remember her saying it when she comes face to face with Nick. Like, again, like that. If she did mention it, it was never to a point.
Yeah.
to really fully understand her motivations. So again, she could have been the focal point of this film, but
She didn't even have a name.
didn't even have a name. No, terrible. No, I didn't enjoy it either. It was just dull. It's going to rank somewhere in the bottom third of his filmography for me, I think, at this point, because it's not so bad that it's terrible. It's just kind of forgettable.
Yeah. And it's going to be one where we have to search the name to remember what it is.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? Which at this point I feel is probably like the biggest condemnation of his filmography. It is going to be those kind of films. Because I'll take a Left Behind over something like Running with the Devil any day of the week. But that's how bad it is. It's just nothing. It's just an empty vessel of a movie. Cage good, Cage bad.
When you look at last week and how ridiculous that was, I think trying to compare that to this, he was fine. He wasn't bad.
Yes.
He was just fine.
It was very much like the kind of job that actors do to keep their SAG card effective.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to just do one of these just to make sure that you've got enough rolling over. Yeah.
I mean, I'll say no because it was not memorable in the slightest.
Yeah, like, he was, like, you are right there, though. He wasn't bad. Like, there's no point where he goes too over the top. I feel like his character is fairly well grounded. Maybe it's just because Lawrence Fishburne was giving it crazy
Yeah.
Cage for a change that, by comparison, it looks a little bit underplayed. I feel like I'm going the opposite to you this week. So last week it was the other way around, and this week I think I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt and say I think he was just about all right-ish. So yeah, I'll give him the benefit of the doubt here, I think. If you enjoyed Running with the Devil, you may also like. I have a funny feeling we're going to have the same film for this, Stu.
I mean, the first thing that came to mind afterwards was something that I haven't seen for a long time and I need to watch again now. Traffic.
Okay, that was my second choice. Okay. I haven't seen Traffic for years. Like, it's got to be pushing 20 years since I've seen that film. Because what was it, 98, was it? Or something like that, I
2000.
can't remember. 2000. Yeah, it's got to be pushing 20 years since I've last seen it.
It was a Sky Cinema / Sky Movie Channel special, that one was. It was there.
Really?
I remember watching. I remember when like, we used to get it on and off, but normally around Christmas time we'd have the movie channels back again. And that's where I watched that. I watched that on Sky.
Now you mentioned it does feel very much like a Sky Cinema kind of like that, and Halloween H2O. That's another one that I just remember constantly being on Sky Cinema or Sky Movies or whatever the fuck it was called back then. Steven Soderbergh, I didn't realize it was a Soderbergh film.
It's great.
Yeah, I quite fancy watching that again. It's been so long. The film that I went for, which is, I thought you was going to go for Sicario as well. That would have been my choice.
Well,
like, it's
what
two sides of the same coin, isn't it?
Yeah, Sicario's better than Traffic, but I think probably because we've talked about Sicario and Sicario 2 so much on here over the last year and a half.
Yeah, potentially. But like, that would be a great double-header, to be fair, Traffic and Sicario, because you've got the like the daily life story, and you've got the other side, the trafficking, the actual in the desert hunting the people down. It's a great film, that is, to be fair. And Denis Villeneuve's best film?
Other than Dune Part 2.
Like, I like Dune Part 2. I thought it was all right, but I think Sicario might just edge it. Did he do Soldado? I can't remember if he did the sequel or not.
I mean, Sicario is his best normal film.
Yeah, he didn't do the sequel. That was Stefano Sollima.
I haven't seen the third one.
Which one? Day of Soldado. That's the second one.
No, I was just saying that there's 3 of them either.
Oh, I didn't think the third one was out yet. I think
That's probably what I was saying.
yeah, it's not out yet. Stu, that one. Looking on IMDb, it is. This project is categorized as in development. It hasn't got a writer, maker, or any of the actors listed on it yet. I know when it was initially announced that they were doing one, that there was talk about Emily Blunt coming back. So if they get her back, surely you'd have at least one of the other 2. Probably Brody, I'd have thought. Just looking at Villeneuve's film, you know what? Actually, he has got some fucking good films, to be fair to him. Prisoners is a cracking film. Enemy, Arrival, Blade Runner 2049. You know, that is a very good filmography. And I've not watched any of his stuff pre-Prisoners. I'm not sure if are they the Spanish language stuff. I can't even remember. Well, there's a lot of foreign names on this one, so potentially. Yeah, best Denis Villeneuve film. That's a tough question, actually, looking at the filmography.
I'm just looking
The
at it
best one, according to IMDb, is Dune Part 2 with an 8.5.
Well, it's fair.
And then Incendies, which that's a foreign language film from 2010. That's 8.3. Prisoners is 8.2. And then you've got Dune Part 1 and Blade Runner 2049, both on an 8.0.
Yeah, that's...
There aren't many directors with that. Like, I mean, it's what, 17 directing? Yeah, 17 directorial films. I bet he's got a very high average on these films, looking at that.
I'm amazed you ain't seen Polytechnique. So that's the most Gillard film ever.
I have not. It's black and white.
Exactly. And it's French.
And French. Is Villeneuve French? I thought Villeneuve was
It's Canadian.
Spanish. Oh, okay. Did not know that.
French
Maybe.
Canadian.
Right. Oh, that'll explain it. For some reason, I always thought he was French or Spanish, not French Canadian. Okay. Interesting.
You remember, I was going to say, you wouldn't remember Jacques Villeneuve, would you? Because why would you?
The Racer.
Yeah.
Is he a racer? Like, I remember the name, but that's pretty much it.
And Gilles, his dad. Gilles Villeneuve, French Canadians.
Okay.
Yeah, Jacques.
Were they around when Damon Hill was like the big cheese?
Yeah, they were teammates.
Okay. That's why I recognise the name then.
Yeah, Jacques Villeneuve and Damon Hill were teammates at Williams.
Right, okay. And was Gilles around when, who's the other one I know? The one with the moustache, Nigel Mansell.
Probably. I don't remember. That was what. But Mansell won in 92, so he was there he was around a long time. He's just had that tash, so he looked older.
You know a thing or two about that shit.
Yeah, there was and so Gilles Villeneuve died in 82. So
okay. Right, okay.
Yeah, so he was runner up in 79. So that's the kind of era you're talking about.
Fair enough. Okay. Right, okay. I think we're done on this one, Stu. So next week, so basically the next 2 weeks are going to be the final 2 Nic Cage films that we've got in the books. Arsenal is the next one up, and that week we're going to have to rank Nic Cage's 2000s films. And then the week after we've got Outcast, and we'll be doing the Nick in the 2010s. And then basically all of October, it's just a Cage retrospective. Because we've got 5.5 years worth of Nic Cage stuff to discuss. So we're going to need a full month for that. But also throughout October and November, we've got 8 films that I have picked for us to watch in what I am labelling absurd autumn. And it's going to be some of the most ridiculous films that I have ever found. Some I've seen, some I've only read about, but have wanted to watch for a while. So once Cage is out the way, we've still got some films to watch before we announce what we're doing next year as we move on. So what did I say we're doing next week? Arsenal, right? Okay.
Or also known as Southern Fury, because if you type Arsenal into IMDb, it doesn't come up.
Does it not? Oh God. So Arsenal, a southern businessman attempts to rescue his kidnapped mobster brother. Now, if you look at the picture of Nic Cage in this, you may recognize Eddie King because it's a character that he played for all of 3 minutes in another film years prior, Stu. What's the name of that film? Is going to annoy me because I can't remember it. Oh God, yeah. So he was in a film years prior playing Eddie King. And it's the one where he gets his head pushed into the deep fat fryer.
Yeah, I know exactly the one you're on about.
Yeah. Right, I'm going to have to Google it because that's going to bug me. Eddie King, Nicolas Cage, Arsenal. That's the one we're talking about. Deadfall from 1993. Yeah, the film he was in for all of a few minutes, directed by Christopher Coppola. So it's going to be one of his family members was the reason he was in that film. So quite why somebody else decided to pick up this character 20 years later who isn't related to Nic Cage, I don't really understand why. But that was such a weird little performance that he gave in that one. I'm a little bit intrigued to see where this goes. Plus it's Cage and Cusack again. So obviously reuniting after their Con Air days.
Yeah.
So who knows how this is going to go? I mean, I do. It's got 4.0 on IMDb. It's going to go badly. But yeah, that's next week. Stephen C. Miller is a name I recognise for a director, but I don't know why. I wonder if we've done another one of his. Escape Plan 2, Hades. That might be why I know the name. Silent Night? No. There's nothing in his filmography that really stands out. Werewolves from 2024. Oh no, that's not the one I was thinking of. Frank Grillo. Wonderful. Anyway, Arsenal next week, Stu. I'm very, very excited to see what this one's going to hold for us. Right, okay. Make sure you subscribe to whatever podcast show that you listen to us on. And if you leave a 5-star review, we will love you forever. It's at Cage Fighting Pod on all of the socials and cagefightingpod@gmail.com if you've got any emails that you want to send to us. And for this week, Stu, would you like to say goodbye?
Yeah, goodbye. Just don't worry, we're not going anywhere once this nonsense is over. There is another plan in place already to continue this with someone else.
Very much so. It's goodbye from me too, and remember, be excellent to each other.